occupying till he comes at Southwest Prophecy Ministries. This is David Schnittger with today's Southwest Prophecy Ministries program. Just a reminder that these programs are supported by your gifts to this ministry. This talk is part 4 in a series of discussions on a Nineveh moment. We began by looking at the story of Jonah and his evangelistic mission to the wicked city of Nineveh. This city was so wicked that Jonah's message was straightforward. Yet 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. Jonah 3, verse 4. We are not told the manner in which God would overthrow this vast city, but certainly the populace was aware of God's judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. However they perceived that this overthrow would take place, the message of warning was effective. So the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth from the greatest of them to the least of them. For word came unto the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne, and he laid his robe from him, and covered him with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. Jonah 3, verses 5 and 6. My friends, at the risk of sounding overly dramatic, it is my view that if Hillary Clinton had succeeded in stealing the election, it would have resulted in the overthrow of America. I believe that judgment has been averted, or at least delayed, because of the election of Donald Trump. Let me give several possible outcomes if Hillary had seized power. Number 1, open borders. Hillary Clinton has long been an advocate of open borders. In fact, it was her desire to increase the number of Syrian refugees from the 10,000 that Obama had promised and let in to 65,000, an over 550% increase. Also during this election, the Clinton campaign actually hired illegals to register other illegals to vote. It is estimated that approximately 3 million illegal aliens voted in the presidential election. You can guess who they voted for. The Democrat strategy over the last 8 years at least has been to flood the country with millions of illegal immigrants in order to make the Democrat Party the permanent majority party in America. The continued open borders would have had several effects beyond their current impact. First, it would bankrupt our country by overwhelming our social services. This Cloward-Piven strategy would bankrupt our public hospitals, schools, and welfare systems. Second, it would drive down wages and deprive hard-pressed Americans of jobs. Third, it would result in an increase in terrorism on the order of what we are seeing in Europe. Fourth, it would result in the permanent destruction of the Christian culture upon which our country was founded. A second disaster that would have occurred if Hillary had become president would have to do with our Supreme Court. With the death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, we currently have one Supreme Court opening. There are other justices who will most likely retire or die within the next 4 years. Currently, the Supreme Court of the United States is evenly divided between liberal and conservative justices. The addition of 2 or 3 justices within the next 4 years will tilt the court philosophically for the next 20 or more years. Donald Trump, during his campaign, submitted a list of 20 possible Supreme Court justice nominees that he pledged would be the pool from which he would nominate Supreme Court justices. All of these are conservative, original construction judges. Hillary, on the other hand, would certainly have nominated the most liberal, pro-abortion, anti-Second Amendment judges she could find. A Hillary presidency would most likely have resulted in the utter destruction of the Bill of Rights, delivering America to a communist Chinese form of government. And by the way, Mao Zedong, the brutal dictator of China, killed 80 million of his own people during the Cultural Revolution. Have you noticed Hillary's penchant for wearing Maoist pantsuits? Is she a communist Chinese agent? Remember that her husband sold nuclear secrets to China to help finance his 1996 re-election campaign. A third catastrophe that would have resulted with a Hillary presidency would be First Amendment destruction. During her campaign, Hillary declared war on what she called the alt-right. By that, she meant the conservative alternative media that is rendering the dinosaur mainstream media extinct. She has specifically singled out Alex Jones, Matt Drudge, and Steve Bannon of Breitbart News in her criticism. In fact, in a recovered WikiLeaks document, she suggested that Julian Assange be murdered in a drone strike. Hillary is also suspected to be behind the mysterious death of Seth Rich, the DNC staffer who leaked documents to WikiLeaks pertaining to the theft of the Democrat nomination from Bernie Sanders. Like all good communists, Hillary opposes free speech, and as president would have been ruthless in shutting it down and silencing her opponents. A fourth result of a Hillary presidency would be continued foreign aggression. Hillary Clinton is an unashamed warmonger. When she and her co-president, Bill Clinton, were in office, they prosecuted a war in Kosovo, killing thousands of civilians. She also led the aggression in Libya, resulting in the brutal death of Muammar Gaddafi, their elected president, as well as 4 Americans at the embassy in Benghazi. Tens of thousands of civilians have been murdered by Islamic terrorists in Libya after Hillary's aggression. She, along with Obama, is also responsible for the civil war in Syria that has killed hundreds of thousands of civilians in the last 5 years, many of them being Christians. A fifth result of a Hillary presidency would be likely nuclear war with Russia. Her bellicose foreign policy has brought the United States to the brink of a nuclear war with Russia. She has pushed for a no-fly zone in Syria, despite the fact that Russia was invited in by Syria's President Assad to protect his besieged country. Russia has already declared a no-fly zone over Syria in order to protect against further Western aggression, as well as assist in eliminating the U.S.-backed terrorists that have invaded and ravaged Syria over the last 5 years in an attempt to overthrow their democratically elected president. In fact, prior to the November 8th election, Russia was on the highest level of nuclear alert and had conducted nuclear war drills involving 40 million Russians. Since Trump's election, the level of nuclear alert has been reduced from DEFCON 3 to DEFCON 5. Trump and Putin have already spoken since the election and have pledged to normalize relations between the two countries. I believe that Trump's election has taken us from the brink of nuclear war that would have assuredly destroyed all human life in America. By the grace and mercy of God, judgment has been averted. What should American Christians do in this Nineveh moment? That will be the subject of our final program. My friends, if you would like a copy of this series of 5 messages on a Nineveh moment, we are publishing this in an ebook. You may obtain a copy of this ebook for an offering of $1.99. You may order this on our website. Simply go to www.swpm.us. That's www.swpm.us. Simply go to the tab on the homepage that says Bookstore. Go to the ebook section of the bookstore and order the product entitled A Nineveh Moment. Again, the offering price for this ebook is $1.99. We will conclude this series next week. Until then, this is David Schnittger. Thanks for listening.